Hi, this is Marty from Blue Lightning TV. I'm going to show you how to transform signatures into beautiful spirographs and create an action that will do it automatically. Scan some signatures into your computer. This will also work with fonts as well. Experiment with different styles such as outline fonts and scripts. Next, create a new document by pressing Ctrl-N on Windows or Command-N on a Mac. Make the width and the height 870 pixels each, and the resolution 300 pixels per inch. We're making the resolution this high in case you want to print the results. Open the flyout list in the background contents and choose Other. If you don't have this option, I'll tell you a workaround in a second. Pick black and click OK. If you don't have the Other option, press Shift and the F5 key at the top of your keyboard to open the Fill window. Open the flyout list and click Black. At this point, if you're using a font, type out the name using white for the color. If you're using a signature, open the file that you scanned in. Open your Levels window by pressing Ctrl or Command L. Drag the input black to the right and the input white to the left. This ensures that it's black and white, and it also gets rid of distracting specks. Go to Select and Color Range. Choose Highlights and click OK. This will make a selection of the signature. To see it as a quick mask, press the letter Q on your keyboard. We need to invert it, so press Q again to make it back into a selection, and press Ctrl or Command-Shift-I. Click the New Layer icon to make a new layer. On this empty layer, we'll fill the selection with white. Make sure your foreground and background colors are black and white respectively. If they're not, click this icon. Since white is the background color, press Ctrl or Command plus Delete. We can now deselect it by pressing Ctrl or Command D. The signature is actually there, you just don't see it because it's white on a white background. With your Move tool, click on the signature and drag it up onto the tab of the black background that you created earlier. Without releasing, drag it down onto the background and then release. If the name is too large or small, open your Transform tool by pressing Ctrl or Command T. Go to a corner, and when you see a diagonal double arrow, press Shift and Alt on Windows or Shift and Option on a Mac as you drag it in or out. Then press Enter or Return. Next, we'll create an action that will automatically remember the next bunch of steps so you don't have to repeat the steps to create a spirograph for each signature. Click the Actions tab. If you don't see it, go to Window and Actions. Open the flyout list and click New Set. Name it Spirograph and click OK or press Enter or Return. Open the list again and this time click New Action. Name it Spirograph 1. Then click Record or press Enter or Return. Immediately, you'll notice that the record icon is now red. This is telling us that your steps will be recorded until you click the Stop icon. It's important to note that it won't record the time in between steps. It only records the steps themselves, so you can take as much time as you want in between steps. Press Ctrl or Command J to make a copy of Layer 1, which is the signature. Open your Transform tool. You can choose to leave the anchor point in the center or choose to drag it to another location within the transform. The location of the anchor will change the look of your spirograph. When you rotate the transform, the word or object rotates around the anchor. I'll undo this last rotation. Since there are 360 degrees in a circle, go to the rotation field and type in a number that divides equally into 360. Just remember, the smaller the number you type in, the more compressed your spirograph will be. Since I typed in 20 degrees, the transform rotated 20 degrees around its anchor point. To accept it, press Enter or Return. We're going to rotate copies of the signature by pressing Ctrl-Shift-Alt-T on Windows or Command-Shift-Option-T on a Mac. Continue to do this until your spirograph is complete. Next, we'll place all of the rotated signature layers into a folder. To do this, scroll to the bottom signature and shift-click on it. This highlights all of the signatures. Then, press Ctrl or Command-G. To center your spirograph on your document, press Ctrl or Command-A to select the spirograph and click the Align Horizontal Centers icon and the Align Vertical Centers icon. Then deselect it. We're ready to colorize it. Click the Adjustment Layer icon and choose Gradient. Click the Gradient bar and click on the gear icon to open your list of gradient presets. Feel free to use any preset. For this example, I'll click the Spectrum Gradient. Open the Style list. You have 5 styles from which to choose. For this example, I'll click Radial. Change the blend mode to Multiply and click the Stop icon to stop recording your actions. The next spirograph we do will use this action to automatically apply the steps we used to create this one. Click on the icon at the upper right corner of your Layers panel and click Flatten Image. Go to Layer and Duplicate Layer. Choose New and type in the name of your spirograph. Then click OK or press Enter or Return. Your finished spirograph file is now added at the top. To save it, go to File and Save As. Save it as a JPEG. To make another spirograph with a different signature, click on the tab of your original spirograph document and open your History panel. If you don't see it, go to Window and History. Scroll to the bottom and click Blending Change just above Flatten Image. Since we saved this spirograph, we can now trash the top 2 layers. I'll open up another signature and repeat the steps that we applied earlier to the first signature. As before, drag it onto the black background. Open the Actions panel and scroll to the top. Click Spirograph 1 and the play icon. The action that we saved automatically repeats all the steps. As before, we'll flatten the image, duplicate the layer, click New, name it, and click OK or press Enter or Return. Let's see what happens when we use the same signature and resize and reposition it on the background, drag the anchor to another location, and change the angle. As we did earlier, I'll center it and add color. As you can see, this spirograph looks totally different even though we use the same signature. This is Marty from Blue Lightning TV. Thanks for watching.